you have dissimps being mad that Trump is putting people like RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, and others in positions of power. It's like, wait, what? I thought you guys loved RFK. I thought you guys loved Tulsi Gabbard. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new video, and I hope everyone is having a great day. I'm having a great day myself, and before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. These are all great ways to support the daily content, but enough of the promotional stuff, let's get into it because I really want to talk about the current state of Trump's second term because there's a lot of people freaking out right now about his current cabinet and staff nominations because, let's face it, there's been some very controversial picks in this administration. And I want to be clear that I am not saying that every single pick that Trump has made right now, I agree with, that I think is perfect. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. I think there's some real bad picks here. But you have people claiming that this second term is going to be a disaster because some of these picks suck. And they're making it sound like that every single pick is a disaster for Trump. So I decided, you know what? We're going to look at the current state of this administration, what's happening here, how I think the picks are looking. Not just one pick, but how every single pick looks right now. Because I'm getting sick and tired of certain people like this, you know, which, by the way, a bunch of these people, they're former dissimps. Out of left field, they came back and said, no, these picks Trump has made completely suck. Like, look at this guy. Brutal headline for Trump. Remember, we were told DeSantis was a deep state establishment, big government stooge. I suspect his cabinet will be full of rock-solid conservatives. This moron is saying this because Axios put out this article like a day ago or whatever. And it mentions the fact that Trump is actually following through with his word of having a unity coalition, like a coalition of former Democrats, centrist Republicans, Republicans, etc. in his administration. Yeah, you have dissimps being mad that Trump is putting people like RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, and others in positions of power. It's like, wait, what? I thought you guys loved RFK. I thought you guys loved Tulsi Gabbard. But now, since Trump is putting these people in positions of power, out of nowhere they're saying, nope, these picks suck because they used to be liberal or they used to be Democrats. Listen, I'm not happy with some picks either. So you know what? Let's go position by position to see, all right, are these picks good or not? Marco Rubio. This one is very controversial. I know Rubio has a very questionable record, especially when it comes to foreign policy. I understand it. I mean, this guy, he's either very hot or very cold on the issues, especially when it comes to foreign policy. Like, sometimes he sounds good, like, oh, he understands what he's talking about, but then at other points, he says some stuff that he shouldn't say. But I'll say this about Marco Rubio. Compared to the other bozos Trump has put here, like Mike Pompeo, Marco Rubio is a phenomenal pick, especially compared to Mike Pompeo. Because at least with Rubio, he has a brain. And he understands that, hey, some of the foreign policy decisions we've made, they suck. We need to fix our foreign policy ASAP. But even then, it's like, people are making it sound like, oh, because Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State, that means we're going to have World War III. No. Compared to John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, and others, he's not as hawkish as those people. And people got to remember, Trump is smart when it comes to foreign policy. It doesn't matter who his Secretary of State is. He does what he has to do. He doesn't just bomb countries because, oh, the Secretary of State says we got to bomb Russia. No, he doesn't do that. He does what he thinks is best for the country. Now, the Attorney General position, it was Matt Gaetz. Everyone knows that I supported Gaetz for this position. But sadly, the scandal took him down and there weren't enough votes for him. So Trump had to pick someone else. And he picked Pam Bondi of Florida, the Attorney General of the state of Florida. Now, I don't know enough about her to really make a decision on her, but based on the things I've heard about her, she doesn't seem that bad. Like, I preferred someone like Andrew Bailey of Missouri, someone like that. Ken Paxton had no chance, but I would have loved him there. But it's like, the Attorney General position, I mean, we got to see what happens, but she doesn't seem that bad. Pete Hegseth, everyone knows, I think he's a great pick. I think he's someone that understands, hey, some of these assholes at the Pentagon, they gotta go. Get rid of them. Fire them for what happened in Afghanistan and clean it up. Now, Kristi Noem's a disaster. I think she's an awful pick for Homeland Security, but let's be honest. She's the public face to Homeland Security. She's not the one actually going to make the decisions. For those that don't know, that's going to be Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, immigration hawks. Yeah, they're the ones actually running Homeland Security. So I'm not too worried about Kristi Noem in this position. So I wouldn't even say she's that bad of a pick. If it's just a public face, like, sure, why not? But there is one pick that I would argue is just terrible. And I know some people are going to defend it, but Lori Chavez DeRaymer should not be the Secretary of Labor. Now, I understand that the reason Trump picked DeRaymer, for those that don't know, she was a congresswoman from Oregon, but she is a pro-labor Democrat, and I think she's against right-to-work laws and stuff, which is questionable, I guess. But either way, Chavez DeRaymer, the only reason she's in this position was because Teamsters asked Trump, hey, if you put Chavez DeRaymer in this position, we will be happy. She's pro-labor, and I know she's not the best on the issues, but to me, this screams, we want to get support from Teamsters, from other unions. That's the only reason he really picked Chavez DeRaymer. John Radcliffe, pretty good at CIA. DNI Tulsi Gabbard is perfect for this position. So far, it's like, outside of DeRaymer and maybe Kristi Noem, what's the disaster? Like, we could keep going. Mehmet Oz, Medicare and Medicaid, pretty good pick. That makes sense. He's a former doctor. EPA, Lee Zeldin. I know Lee Zeldin at EPA, does he have the experience? I don't know, but it's like, Zeldin's loyal. And he's good enough on the issues where he's not going to backstab Trump 24/7. Elise Stefanik, not bad for UN. RFK. Who has a problem with RFK? The fact is, these idiots on Twitter, they have, now out of the blue, they have a problem with RFK. Because a couple months ago, he was a Democrat. Listen, I understand there are some issues I disagree with RFK on, like abortion, like energy. I understand that. But RFK's not running the country. Guys, he is running the one part that most people agree with him on, health. And well, that's his position. So I don't get what the problem with RFK is now. Out of the blue, people are saying, oh, he's pro-choice. Yeah? Have you been asleep for a year now? Half of these people supported RFK a year ago. But now because Trump picked him in the health position, out of the blue, it's like, oh, he was pro-choice? Yeah, no shit. He was a Democrat. But it's like he's not talking about energy or whatever. He's focused on stuff like food safety. Doug Burgum for Interior, pretty good. Doug Collins for Veterans Affairs, I think that's great. Scott Bessent, I know there are allegations surrounding him with the George Soros stuff. I understand that. But he's promising to do good stuff. I know George Soros being affiliated with him is not good. But some of these people, they're making just something on nothing. Like, this guy was affiliated with him like 10 years ago or whatever, or something like that, but it's like, he's promising stuff that's good. And when it comes to being this Treasury Secretary, if he just does what he promises to do, I don't see the problem with him. Howard Lutnick, I think, is great for commerce. Sean Duffy, great for transportation. Martin A. McCary, I honestly don't know who that is. Chris Wright, great for energy. Linda McMahon, I don't know why he picked him for education, but okay. Matthew Whittaker, I think, is a great pick. Scott Turner, no clue. Dave Weldon, honestly don't know. Now, the Surgeon General is the worst. I mean, this one has no defense to it. Like, you can defend Chavez DeRaymer because, Teamsters said, pick her. You pick Chavez DeRaymer, and we will be happy. You can defend someone like Scott Bessent because, well, he promises to do good things. But this Surgeon General is awful. I have no clue why Trump picked her. I mean, guys, look up what she said about certain things. She's a disaster. She's a liberal on certain stuff. Not a liberal like RFK. No, she's just a full-blown liberal. I have no clue why Trump picked her. But it's like, outside of that, that's the only, like, only pick here I can really say I cannot defend whatsoever. The rest of these picks, they're either okay, I don't know enough about them, or they're amazing. People like Howard Lutnick. People like RFK, Tulsi Gabbard. Even Russell Vought is back, who I think is a phenomenal pick, by the way. No, everyone should look him up. He's amazing. You just start looking at this administration, it's like, wait, what's the problem here? What's the problem? And you look at the other positions, Susie Wiles, good chief of staff, James Blair, Stephen Miller, phenomenal deputy chief of staff. Easily one of Trump's best picks. Tom Homan, the border czar. I mean, these are good picks across the board. It's not all perfect, I'm not saying that at all, but Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk, these are good picks across the board. There's not just, it's not just, oh, half the picks are awful, the other half are great. No. Outside of like one, maybe two of these picks, these are fine or just actually really good. Now, of course, we still got some picks like agriculture, small business. I get that. But let's be honest. What's wrong with these picks here? Honestly, what's wrong with them? Oh, RFK and Tulsi Gabbard are liberals. Yeah, no shit. Have you been asleep for 5 months? Trump promised a coalition government like this. He's putting people like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard in these positions. We don't agree with them on everything, but we agree with Tulsi Gabbard and RFK and stuff like freedom of speech, on health, etc. It's like, yeah, but put them in the positions we agree with them on and just ignore the issues we disagree with them on. So they can focus on stuff everyone agrees with, so everyone can be happy. These picks are not perfect. I'm not saying that at all. The Surgeon General, no clue why I picked her. I don't get it. Look her up. She's a disaster. The rest of these picks, it's like, is anyone really convinced that, oh, these picks are actually going to derail Trump's second term? Who? You really think the Surgeon General is going to screw Trump over that much? Do you really think that Chavez de Raymer is going to end Trump's second term? But really? Scott Bessent, I know that's a pretty big position for Treasury, but you look what he's promising, this is good stuff. Again, we gotta see if he actually does it, but he is promising good things that if he actually implements them, could help a bunch of people out. So we will see what happens, but this fear-mongering from certain people that, oh, actually, it's a grand conspiracy, all these picks suck, that's delusional. There's only like 1 or 2 picks I would say are actually awful. The rest, you know, they're either I don't know anything about them, or they're actually pretty good. People like Mehmet Oz, RFK, Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, Howard Lutnick, Sean Duffy, Tulsi Gabbard. These are good picks. Not perfect. I think there's some picks here that people could say, you know, Attorney General, for example, I wish it was Andrew Bailey. But it's not a bad pick. Just because you didn't get the #1 option, it doesn't mean it's awful. And that's why things happening here. People wanted someone like Andrew Bailey as Attorney General. Someone that doesn't piss around, that has a record of being amazing. But instead we got Pam Bondi, who's still alright. But I think with some of these picks, it's just because they're not everyone's #1 choice. That's why I think some of these picks, they are a bit, you know, questionable. We'll see what happens in the next couple of days, but I'm liking this second term for Trump. I like this cabinet. Not perfect, but compared to Trump's first term, I mean, people, if you really think this cabinet's awful, look at Trump's first term. It was a disaster. You had people everywhere that had no clue what the hell they were doing. They're completely incompetent, and well, Trump replaced these people with people that are actually loyal, that are actually good. They understand what they're doing. So it's not all perfect. I'm not saying that. Again, I am criticizing Trump for the pick with, you know, Surgeon General. Maybe even de Raymer. But the rest of these picks, I'm fine with. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below. Subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell. Follow the social media accounts in the description down below. And of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.